It's really a pleasure for me to have you as a mentor and to be participative in all the events, whatever takes place in Toastmasters at Electronic City Toastmasters Club.
Thank you, thank you. That's really wonderful. So yep, keep taking the part in all the things that keep happening in the club. All right, so let's start with the session today, and I am going to share my screen. We'll take it from there. Before that, a quick poll: how many of you have been a mentor before or are mentoring someone right now? Okay, Doyle is raising her hand. I don't
Oh,
see
you need
other
a
people.
camera. Okay, wait.
Yeah. Which camera is better? We also have the ability to raise your hand in Zoom. So that is also a good way to show.
Zoom, you
Uh,
have that capability, is it?
yes, yes, yes. In Zoom, you go to manage participants or somewhere it's there. I think if you are on a mobile, it's certainly there.
Yeah.
It's on where you have more options.
Ah,
Over there, you can find it.
correct, correct.
Okay, I'm checking.
Okay, it's okay. Just say yes or no. Let's not.
Yeah,
Technology should
yes. Okay.
technology should not be able to stop us. It's here to enable us. Um, okay, so Vipul, are you mentoring someone right now?
Yes, I am.
Okay, cool. JP,
Yes.
okay. Ashirbad,
Yes.
all right. Duel already said yes. Amruta,
No.
not yet. Okay. So just to let everyone know, Amruta is my sister. She has joined Toastmasters about 4 to 5 months ago. I think she just finished her level 1. Amruta, if you could introduce yourself to everyone in a quick way, it'll be great.
Yes, sure. Hello, everyone. Good evening. I'm Amrita. I recently joined Toastmasters 4 to 5 months ago, and I have also attended few of the sessions in your Toastmasters club. I believe it's the same club that we visited when
Yeah.
I came to Bangalore. So actually, I got inspired while visiting and seeing everyone taking up roles and talking so confidently. So I wanted to do the same, and hence I've joined Toastmasters, and it's great to learn with everyone. And so about my background, I'm basically from Pune. I'm an electrical engineer working in Katera, and yeah, I'm sorry, I just came back from office right now, hence I'm a bit tired. So that's all I could think about right now. Sorry.
It's all right. It was an impromptu icebreaker, so it's okay. Just to give you a hint, when you become a district officer, you have to give an icebreaker every time you go on the stage or other table topic. It was just yesterday I was in a meeting, and out of nowhere I was called on the stage to talk and kind of few words. All right. So let's start with the mentoring program because all of you, except Amruta, everyone has been mentoring someone. How has been your experience? Can you share in a few words? Can you start with you, JP?
Well, to start off with, it's a wonderful experience indeed because you get to realize that you're shaping somebody up. Um, Key learning that I had in my entire mentoring experience has been that everybody has their own flair, own flavor of speaking, own
Yeah,
style of speaking. So you cannot really impose a certain style on somebody. You need to adapt to their styles and mentor them accordingly.
adapt to their styles and mentor them accordingly. Interesting way to put it. I will come back to that. All right, let's hear from you, Vipul.
Yeah, I think I'm not mentoring in Toastmasters, but I'm mentoring my team members in the company. So uh, while mentoring them, I learned a few things as to how to manage them.
Okay.
While mentoring, it is also important that you know the skills of the person and then shape them up to build on the new capabilities which are required to them for them to achieve the goals they have
Yeah.
stated or to direct them.
Yeah.
I think that's what I have learned. Rather than imposing your thoughts,
Right.
develop them with their skill set and approach
Okay.
to show them the journey.
Cool. Cool. Thanks. Thanks for sharing, Vipul. Let's hear from you, Ashirbad. Ashirbad. Uh,
Am I audible now?
yes, now you are.
Yeah. The best thing is the most pleasurable thing is whatever you have learned, you can give it back. So this is the best opportunity to give it back. So whatever I have learned in Toastmasters so far, so this is the platform I'm passing out the same thing to other person. And by teaching them, or by not the teaching is not the right word, by mentoring
Yeah.
them, I'm learning lot of things
Yeah.
to understand people,
Yeah.
their perspective. So it's a big learning for me. um, I mean, from my point of view.
Great, great. Really well put. Let's hear from you as well, Doel.
Yeah. After being a mentor, what I have learned is basically the two main skill set. That is, first of all, to identify the challenges which the person is facing, and secondly, the evaluation skill. That is, I could evaluate more what are the major problem areas which he or she is facing and how to rectify that. So it has improved my analyzing and even my evaluation skill. Secondly, by helping someone to leverage their skill set, whether it can be in the organization of speech, or it can be in the grammar, or it can be in the content, it also gives me learning to better construct my speeches, and it also gives a thoughtfulness for the
Yeah.
future upcoming speeches. So I could add on more value. So it's a mutual process.
Right, right. I think all of the answers are really fantastic and really heartwarming, I would say. Before we proceed, let me share my experience as well. About 2 years ago, when I became the VP education of the club, I got a few mentees assigned, and um, that's where I was, I mean, kind of just helping them with few initial projects. And what I came to know is you get to practice what you have learned, and you get to put it in simpler and simpler and simpler words every time you explain the process to someone else. For example, just now Ashirabad asked me a question: how do I choose a speech topic? And this question, it has been coming to me from all of my mentees, and for each one of them I have been able to give, at least most of them, I've been able to give them a satisfactory answer. Because I did not give the answers, I extracted those answers from them with the help of one technique that I learned. That was to understand, what are you passionate about right now? Today, what did you spend most of the time about? And using that question as a tool, you really get different answers from different mentees. So that's where you can fine tune your skills to extract information and understand the next person even better. I also helped to it also helped me to understand people better, and that's called as empathy. How many of you have heard this word, empathy? You have?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So empathy is the ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes and think like them. And that gives you the power to understand anyone in this world. And the better you understand someone else, for example, for a salesman, it's best way to understand what the buyer wants to buy and what kind of mindset they are in. And that depends on how they behave, what they speak, and how they speak. So empathy is all around us everywhere. I'm going to mute everyone because we're getting some noise from the background. Yeah. Okay, cool. Now, uh, when you get assigned a mentee, what you should do. Here are a few things that I have noted down. What's most important is the first meeting that you have with your mentee, is because at that point of time, you are a blank canvas for them and they are a blank canvas for you. You don't know what is their background. You don't know with what process have they joined Toastmasters, or what are the needs with which they have come in. There are we know a few people in our club itself, in ECD Toastmasters Club. One lady joined because she needed to speak better. She just needed to speak out loud, because in her family matters, she felt that she could not speak very confidently, and that was her need. And that's really where the framing of the question really comes into picture. If you ask a Toastmasters question, Why did you want to join Toastmasters? Oh, I want to learn public speaking and leadership skills. No one really walks in with those thoughts. It is us, Toastmasters, who keep talking again and again that Toastmasters is all about communication and leadership, communication and leadership. And that kind of helps them to frame their answers that, yeah, I also came here for communication and leadership. And that kind of hides their real answers of why did that person join Toastmasters. Each one of us have our own reasons. For example, when I joined, I remember I could feel that I'm a decent speaker. I could speak in front of a crowd, but when it came to speaking about in different styles, for example, speaking in an entertaining manner, I could not do. You put me in a networking room with a room full of people in a conference, I would still be standing in a corner without talking to anyone, just enjoying my coffee in the corner. And those are a few things which I knew that I need to work on, and Toastmasters has really helped me to do that. Now that's really brings me to the why behind everything. We all have so yesterday I talked about why as a tool. It's a digging tool, really. You ask why 7 times to any question, and you can extract the truth behind everything that's there. Or or any new concept that you are trying to understand, ask the question why 7 times, and you get to the truth behind it. Now, when you get mentees assigned, let's say you have six
Okay,
to, hey, yeah,
just one thought, Niket.
yeah,
The why answer needs to be truthful to
that's
reach
right.
to that, get the answer.
No, that's why we ask it 7 times.
No,
For
that's fine. But if
Mhm.
you don't give a truthful answer, even the
Yeah,
7 times doesn't work.
true. That's also where your skill as a mentor comes into picture, where you should be able to identify, and that's why the first line says preferably meet them outside of Toastmasters meeting, because when you are inside those four walls, they are in that mindset. But if you're sitting with them while having a chai or a coffee, and we have those things outside the meetings, when the meetings are over, we do go for those tea and coffee sessions. That's truly where the Toastmasters, rather the mentoring, happens. While we went to Coronation, one of the district conferences, I told everyone that came with me that real coronation happens after the coronation. When most of the people leave and there are only a few people remaining, that is when you can really connect with that international speaker. When he is just sipping his coffee in a corner, you can just go and sit with them and talk to them about whatever you want. And that is really the value that you get when you go to these conferences. Not to get distracted by those experiences. Coming back to our Toastmasters mentoring session here, you as a mentor are not here just for reviewing speeches. And that is a big learning for me, because when I came in and I asked one of the senior members of our club, when I was really new, hey, what do I do, what to do as a mentor? And the answer that I got was, no, you don't have to do much, just get the speeches from them, review the speeches and tell them feedback. You can also do it on emails. And I was thinking to myself that, it doesn't make sense somewhere. And how many of you have heard something similar?
I have experienced similar.
You have experienced similar. Amruta talking, right?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Yes. So what was your experience, Amruta?
So whenever I had to present a speech or do any role, I prepared my script and I shared it with our Pune mentors. And I had received feedback one day before my speech. Say my speech is tomorrow in the afternoon, and my mentor told me to change 75% of my script one night before. So I sort of
Yeah.
panicked
Yeah.
and I got into dilemma whether I should change it or not.
Yeah.
I remember calling you for
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
the funny thing was I shared my script with you and my Pune mentor, and
Mm-hmm.
both of you gave me contradicting. Like, you told me to keep this paragraph no matter what, and
Yeah.
he told me you have to remove this paragraph.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
That's
was
that's also it identifies an issue. Don't get mentoring from multiple people. You would get contradictory things, and that
yes.
happens. To share with you an example, um, especially when you go from club level contest to area level contest, you win at the area level contest, you feel like a champion, and now you have your division level contest happening in just 2 weeks. And now these 2 weeks, you are like, how many people can I meet and tell them my speech and get some feedback from them. And as you keep giving your speeches and keep receiving feedback, you're actually getting more and more confused because everyone keeps telling you different things. And it has been my experience as well. When I went to my division level speech contest ISC about 2 years ago, after winning the area level, I went to a really renowned speaker in Bangalore, gave my speech to him and his wife. We did an online session. I gave my speech, and Amruta, what you told me, same thing happened to me. He said 75% of the speech is garbage. Remove that. Your message is also not very good. Remove that as well, and find your new speech. And I had 2 weeks. I could not figure out the entire thing because I was confused. And I tell you what, this is the absolute truth. I am getting up from my seat as my name is called out, and the conclusion of my speech is still not clear.
Yeah, I
And
can relate to that.
that showed up clearly on the stage, that I was not sure what I'm talking about. I actually fumbled a couple of times, and I came second in that contest, and another lady came up. She was the winner. But nevertheless, lesson learned is, you have to be absolutely sure about your content. You have to freeze your content before the speech contest, at least a week before, and start working on it. And another thing I learned is, don't get mentored by many people. uh, that's one of the things as well. So that's why when it comes to mentoring, it's not just about speech review. That's why I'm saying you need to meet your mentee. You need to understand where they're coming from, where have they done their schooling, because all of you that you have experienced in the last 25 years, that has shaped you as a person. That explains why you behave in a certain way, which is different than someone else. And as a
Yeah,
mentor, the better you understand your mentees, the better it is. Yes, go ahead, Vipul.
yeah. Niket just had one experience recently. I was traveling to Australia with my manager, and he generally gives a script of what to speak on orals with the client, and which is from his perspective, you know, based on his experience, which I was not comfortable with. So I created my own script and gave it to him. And he generally changes it just few minutes or 1 hour before the orals are there. So I made it a point that it is freezed in the airplane itself
Yes,
before I land to Australia, because I need 1 day to prepare and deliver it. And I
absolutely.
communicated that to him, saying that I require time to prepare and deliver. So I
True,
want to freeze it before I land.
true,
So once I did that, it was aligned and I was able to deliver the speech as I was comfortable with. I think that can be one of the ways
yeah,
to communicate with your mentor as to what approach works for you.
true, definitely. It's actually a mutual relationship that you share with your mentee, where you understand how they work, they understand how you work. And as Amruta said, 70% of the speech needs to be changed is something that the mentee, rather the mentor, sometimes recommends. Sometimes it is necessary, sometimes or most of the times it is not. I'll give you one more example. Yesterday I went to a Toastmasters meeting, and the speaker number one, she came on the stage and she spoke about ghosts. Believe me, she spoke about ghosts, and she told the story of her grandfather and how her grandfather was haunted by that spirit, and how she gave a complete research about her researching and presenting project about ghosts. I just wished she had a mentor who could tell her that don't speak about this on the stage, because there are corporate people sitting in the audience and it doesn't look good when you are to delivering speeches like this. If you do want to add a bit of humor, so that at least it works out in your favor. That's why, just like in software design or rather any kind of design, if there needs to be a drastic change to the structure of anything, the better it is done during the design phase, it is less costly than it is done after it has been created, an entire speech is ready, and now you realize that it's not going on the right path. So first meeting that you have with your mentee is all about listening. Just listen to their life story, listen to why they are here, what do they want out of the Toastmasters program, how did they hear about it. I'll tell you one more thing. A lot of times what people would do is they would go to a Toastmasters meeting and they would see a speaker on the stage. They someone like, let's say, Deepak Justin or Dhananjay Hettiarachchi. Dhananjay Hettiarachchi won't be in your meetings, but let's say someone like him is present in your meeting, and the person attended that meeting as a guest and came out super impressed, and I want to be like him, is the goal. And with that goal, that person joins the meeting. And if that person is assigned to you as a mentee, what do you think you should tell that person? What will you tell them, Joel?
You should have your own style.
Was that Kavina?
Am I audible?
Yes, Kavina. Yes, Kavina, you are.
So I feel that we should tell them that we have to develop our own style as a speaker, rather than following, rather than adapting somebody else.
Absolutely. Totally agree with you there. That a lot of times people do join Toastmasters looking at someone else. What needs to be clear is you are not here to be that person. You are here to be a better version of yourself. And that's where taking a snapshot of what you are right now is very important. And that's why understand your mentees better. Now in Toastmasters, in the pathways, there's a program called as mentoring program. And in that mentoring program, sorry, I'm getting a call. I am the on call this week. Just excuse me for 1 minute. I will be back shortly. All right, I'm back. False alert. Yeah, so it's important for you to help them understand that you are not here to be someone else. You are just here to be a better version of yourself. To do a time check, we are at 9:33. We still have 30 minutes in our hands. Let's go forward. How can you enable your mentees? First one is you need to help them understand the best practices of being in Toastmasters. A lot of times, for example, when I was in Akamai Bangalore Toastmasters Club, I joined pretty new and I didn't know anything. I thought that just going to club and taking up the speech slot and keep doing speeches is the only thing that you can do. I didn't even know that this timer, accountant, grammarian, what do these roles mean and what kind of value they add to you. So this is something that the better you help your mentee to understand these basic things, the even better it is for the mentee to have a deeper experience of Toastmasters and getting something out of every meeting that they attend. So it's more about you sharing your learnings, and also about showing that you care. And the only way to show that is by asking questions. The only way to show that is by being yourself. So don't think like as a mentor I am someone else, I'm going to behave differently, and as let's say Kavina, I am going to behave differently. You, Kavina, are a mentor, so you have to be yourself with your mentee and help them to understand and get the most out of Toastmasters. So that would mean taking up roles, maybe timer, accounter, grammarian, taking up the speech slots, and helping them to write speeches. What do you do? Where do we get our content from for our speeches? Any answers? Where do we get our speech content?
Prepared speeches, you mean?
Yeah, prepared speeches.
From life,
general experiences.
Life experiences, okay. Any other answers?
From books or sometimes even TV shows.
Books and TV shows. Okay. What else?
YouTube videos.
Okay, you're missing something. If the experiences, as you said, what we have experienced actually tells us, gives us more content about the speeches, but also ask them to write their stories down, the stories from your childhood that still your parents will keep talking about whenever your family is together. They say, oh, let me tell you this one story where this happened. So we all have those stories in our childhood. We all have those funny stories from our college life, or maybe in your first job. All of these are important aspects of our life, and this is truly where our content comes from. Now, there is a lot of messages that we deliver through our speeches. Those messages are something that either you come up with, or depending on the story that you have, the messages you can have from either a book or a TV show or any other source of information where you can inspire your audience or you want to share that message. So, as a mentee, help them to write their own speech. And by doing that, you need to be more clear on how to write a speech with the opening, the body, the conclusion, how to have that structure, how to add a quote. Where do you get that quote from? So, all these resources. And as a parent, what I have learned is a lot of times all of these thoughts are jumbled up in our heads. But when your daughter asks you a question of telling the difference between dislike and hate, that really makes you think, take a step back and understand, what's the most easiest way of explaining this? And then you try to maybe write it down, maybe put it in a simple words, put it in a structure, and then try to explain. Exactly the same process you have to follow. Whatever you know, that this is the process that I have been following to write my speech. Some of us, each of us have our own styles. For example, um, I know a few of my mentees who like to use this pen. They will write down everything on a page. They will have 5 to 6 pages ready with the content, and now you start trimming it down until you find that crux of the meeting, crux of that speech, and then you think, how do I get the most out of it when I start my speech? What is the most impactful way of doing it? Because there are different ways of telling the same story. Sometimes you tell the story that, you know what, unity is always better than doing anything alone. And to help you do this, I'll tell you a story of farmer who taught his kids, and he all they gave them a stick. Each of them broke a stick. Together they could not break that stick. In this case, I told the message first and the story later. You can reverse it by telling the story first and the message later. So these are different ways in which you can arrange your stories and your speeches. Now, this is something that you want to teach your protege, you want to teach your mentee. And that can only happen if you have a conversation before the speech, not after, not during, not when they are about to go on the stage and you talk to them, hey, tell me, it doesn't look good. Don't do this. No, 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 stop. If they are already in the meeting room with you, let them go. You are their cheerleader. Let me repeat, as a mentor, when you are in the room and your mentee is going on and giving that speech, your face has to be lit up like a Christmas tree. You need to be their cheerleader to tell them, yes, go ahead, do it. I'm here for you. And that's the only way you can show that you care. You care for your mentee. And that is the only way that they would believe in you, that if I am in a soup, this person would help me, not just with a speech, but anything. Because as a mentor, this is where the difference between mentoring and coaching comes into picture. In coaches, let me give you an example of IPL. In IPL, you have a bowling coach, you have a batting coach, and you have a fielding coach as well. But there is no cricketing coach over there, because each of those coaches are looking at just one function. I tell you 6 ways of doing a Yorker, I'm done. That's my job as a coach. But a mentor is for life. When Sachin Tendulkar talks about his mentor, do any of you know his mentor's name?
No.
Okay, that's a homework for all of you. Go and read about Sachin Tendulkar talking about his mentor. A really
Achrekar, sir.
Tell me again.
Achrekar, sir.
Yes, exactly. Now, that person is with Sachin still now. Till now, Sachin talks about his mentor who has been helping to guide him, to mold him since his childhood. So that's what mentoring is. Don't think of it as a 6 months assignment that your VP education has given you. And after 6 months, once all the speeches are over, I will file my competent leadership award and my mentoring is over. Until you really cannot speak with that person anymore, or they move away, or you move away, the mentoring should go on. It might not happen every week, might not happen every now and then, but for you as a mentor, that person is your mentee. And that is something that you should be clear with. So far, any questions? The silence means no. Okay, cool. A sense of accountability. That's really important. For example, if because all of you know that I have a daughter, and her name is Ira. She goes to school. If I come to know that Ira hasn't gone to school for the last 15 days, do you think I will be like, meh, it's okay, come next day? Or should I tell her? Should I scold her? Should I talk to her? Why are you not going? What's the issue? So for you as a mentor, it's not that indifferent from this. If your mentee is not coming to the meetings, why is he or why is she not coming to the meetings? If they haven't given a speech in the last 1 month, why have they not given a speech? What are they doing? It's possible that your mentee has taken up a VP education job and mentoring, or rather, they are taking care of the mentoring of the entire club. They're managing an entire club. In that case, it is worthy of this, that they are learning leadership through this. Another thing I would like to share is, as a mentor, you should be able to define your mentees, or at least identify a few attributes about your mentees. For example, as the slide says, one of my mentors, I think Bhavna just joined us. So one of my mentors, I still remember when he said that quote that I am good at creative thinking, but planning and executing a project is something I need to work on. So that's something I had never heard before. Number one, the first half of the observation kind of boosted my confidence that yes, I can. I mean, it kind of validated what I already knew. But coming from him, really, I felt better. And second one, as we are all evaluators, we wouldn't say you suck at planning. Do something else, bro. Instead of that, he put it in very nice words. And we are used to hearing those nice words. But that's where the first meeting with your mentee again comes into picture. What kind of rapport you have with your mentee? If you have that kind of rapport, you can use your kind of words. If you know that the mentee might be a bit sensitive on this side, you can use you can put on your evaluator hat and put it in that way. But what's important is, tell your mentee, what did you observe in them? What, according to you, what are their strengths? According to you, what should they work on as a speaker, or as a leader, or as a person? Some of my mentees, I'm explicitly avoiding names here because everyone knows everyone in our club. Some of my mentees, I have told them personally that procrastination is their biggest enemy, and a lot of us engineers are excellent at picking up things in 2 hours before the meeting, writing it down, and giving a great speech. That is awesome to have as an ability, but it shouldn't become a habit, is all I'm saying. Now, what all things you should do as a mentor? Number one is goal. Setting up a goal on what should the other person do. For example, if your mentee already has an ALB or advanced communication bronze, and now they are on the advanced communication journey, and you have to support him or her, in that case, the goals are very different. And on the contrary, if your mentee is someone very new, you know that they lack confidence and they are even hesitant to go on the stage. And that is why we are all in Toastmasters, to make better speakers and better leaders. So if you feel that the mentee lacks in confidence, then their biggest achievement is to keep going on that stage again and again and again and again until going on the stage comes naturally. Then you start talking to them about speaking. Then you start talking to them about speaking and making sense. And then you start sharing your stories. And when their stories bring smiles on the faces of the audience, that feeling, that sense of achievement would actually inspire and and promote any person to go on that stage again and again and make people laugh. And that's why setting up a goal is really important for you as a mentor. Sometimes you will find people around you who like to be like military generals. Oh, you're doing speech, you're able to do 2 speeches in a month now. I set up a goal for you, do 20 speeches in this year. With that kind of a lofty goal, you're more like crushing that mentee with their confidence and like, 20 is a bit too much. I don't think I can do that. Maybe I'll look for a different mentor, or maybe I'll take a break. So make sure that you are able to get that non-verbal feedback while you're delivering your goals or you're talking to them about it. Second thing is training. What we are doing here, you see that I have a WhatsApp group. I keep interacting with all of you. I keep sharing many things with you, even though it is not the Thursday, even if it is not the second Thursday. But I consider all of us together in that group, and we are all learning together. And that's why I keep sharing things on that group, so that our learning journey is not just on Thursdays. It's every now and then. Whenever I learn something cool and I want to share with all of you, I don't wait for those Thursdays. I just share it away. So training is another one. Motivation. One of the most important aspects that you should learn as a leader is, how do you motivate people? I'll tell you an example. When I was a president and I had to manage an executive committee of 7 people, while I was managing the executive committee, um, everyone was of a different quality because everyone came in with their own personalities. And while everyone had those personalities, it means that the way I motivate one person will not work with the other person. And that is precisely what I'm talking about here. You need to know what works for your mentees. You need to know what works for your leaders. And this quality that you learn from mentoring is actually, you can take it to your office as well. Because tomorrow, when you are leading a team and you need to motivate your team, understanding what motivates them is even better. I know that many of us are actually leaders here. We have been leading teams in our work, or maybe in Toastmasters. So I want to hear from you on, how do you go about this, on understanding your team and motivating them. Can we hear from you, JP?
One sec. Yeah. All right. You always catch me unaware. You throw these table topics at me a bit. All right. How I motivate them. Now, I'll tell you how exactly I engage with them, and probably that's what keeps them motivated. What I've always tried to do is make them feel that I'm not exactly somebody who's above them. I'm a part of them. I'm a part of the team. I have been a huge fan of the concept of servant leadership, where I believe that I am because of them and not that they are because of me. So that is something that helps them realize that they are a key player in the team, and they really add that value to the team. And every now and then, I try to figure out an opportunity to probably praise them, send out a small note in the mail, even if that's a small achievement. Probably create a nice small poster out of it and send it out in the mail. And I think that's exactly what keeps them motivated.
Cool. Thanks for sharing, JP. That was really well crafted. Anyone else who would like to share? Vipul, Bhavna?
I would like to share.
Yeah. So
Okay.
basically,
Let's have Vipul first, and then I would like to hear from Doyle as well. Yeah.
yeah. So basically, I look at the situation from the perspective that I am working under somebody. So if I am leading a team or the member, how would he or she feel being in the same shoes? So the way I interact with them, first I communicate as to what is the best way they want me to interact with them. That basically creates a relationship in terms of how we will work together. Secondly, I ask them what kind of space they require, which I can give to them. And thirdly, I know that if they have some task, it is goal based, it is time based, and then they will need support to achieve it. So I always tell them that I am there to engage and to provide them any direction. So go ahead without any
Yeah. Yeah.
fears in the mind.
Thank you.
So that's what I do from my
Thank,
side.
thank you, Vipul. Let's hear from you, Doyle.
Uh, what I feel is that I always inculcate the habit of the power of we. That is, as a team, how the complete team can come up. Secondly, brainstorming also plays an important role where I listen to each and every member, take their ideas, and accordingly, collectively coming up with a decision. Thirdly, to encourage contributing with them equally, whatever they do, helping them to overcome their challenges so that they also feel the same connection with me and the proper engagement is maintained. And lastly, appreciating them at each step, whether it is an initial step or it is a final step. It is very important to appreciate so that they have that positive energy to continue with their work and that boost them to give up to their best shot. Yeah, that's it from my side.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you, Doyle. One observation that I have, I've heard this multiple times in today's meeting itself. Firstly, secondly, and thirdly. Please remove these words from your dictionary. There is nothing called as firstly, secondly, and thirdly. You can say first of all, in addition to that, and in the end, I would like to summarize by. So this is the way to say it. Maybe the grammarian's report has lacked this, but I would strongly recommend don't say firstly, secondly, and thirdly. That's not professional words. Is that okay?
Roger that.
Thank you. Thank you. All right. So what we heard common in all the three, that appreciation is very important. Engagement is another word that came out in all the three of the responses. And to re-emphasize that I am there with you, I am there with you, that is something that we all miss. We have been hearing that until we were in school, when our teachers used to say that. We have been hearing that when you were in your colleges, when our best friends and our best buddies used to keep saying that. But when you enter the wild world of professional careers, that that stone, that supporting block is somewhere lost. So when you keep having that support again and again, that creates a strong bond between the mentor and the mentee, and that's very important. Now the next thing I want to talk about is the advice. A lot of times advice is what you can suggest, but make sure that you are not taking the decision for the mentee. Let them take the decision. You can just give an advice. I would recommend not to go ahead with this. Instead, why don't you do that? But that's also important. If your mentee is going to talk about a specific topic and you feel it is not appropriate, it is good to advise them not to speak about that, but at the same time also offer some replacement. Otherwise you're leaving them hanging in the middle of nowhere. They don't know where to go next. You told them don't do that, but what to replace with, even more important. And that's why whenever you are commenting on anyone's speech, make sure that You don't go with the army brigadier's uniform. You go with you go as soft as you can and say, I advise to do this. So that is that. In that case, you are neutral and you are just giving your advice to them. Success is even more important. You need to celebrate the success so that it is for your own satisfaction. Once you start feeling that when let's say when Amruta sends me a picture of her winning a trophy in her office when she did a really nice speech, that made me really happy. When Kavina won the speech contest in Infosys, I was even more happier than her. When Sumit was standing on the division level speech contest, I was so happy. At the same time, when Sumit did not win, when JP could not make it to the next level, I was shattered that day. So that is the emotional connect. Without that, it's all mechanics. The moment you feel that connection of happiness and sadness on how your mentee performs, I think that is where you should be identifying that that emotional bond is there between you and the mentee. And the last one is the direction and coaching and support. Direction is, for example, uh, there are many things that your mentee might want to do, but out of those, all of those three, what direction should he or she go is the advice that you should give to them, or and based on your experience and based on your opinion, that should also come out clearly that in my opinion you should do this. However, if you choose to do the other way, I am okay with that as well. To give you an example, for example, so Sumit, he had a dilemma. Sumit Banerjee, one of mentees here, he had a dilemma after not making it to the district finals this year. He wanted to be a leader as an area director. He also wanted to be a speaker. So should I speak? Should I keep practicing until I go next level, or should I go and learn leadership? And he came to me with that question, and I asked him the same thing that I asked you earlier, Ashirvad, that what are you more passionate about right now? And he told me, as a president, he was more passionate about leading people and learning better on how to manage people, how to learn with, how to understand them. And I advised him to go for the leadership role, and currently he's doing that. But then again, it was my advice. I was completely happy even if he had not become an AD and continued to practice his communication skills and went for the ISC this year as well. So coaching is where you, as a mentor, a lot of people say don't go too deep, just review the speeches and let them learn on their own. I completely disagree with that. If I know something and I know I can help you to be a better speaker, why should I not help you out? So my opinion, my strong opinion is, if you have figured out a technique, if you have figured out that one, two, three stepwise process with which you can do evaluation or table topic, or even in your professional world, how do you take Toastmasters in your professional world? In whichever way that you feel that this is your best learning, make sure that you teach it to someone. Because when you teach something to someone else, you learn it better, and you see them implementing that in their life, it kind of proves that what you learned is valid. Let's go to the next slide. These are some of the signs of a great mentor: somebody who challenges you. For example, many of you must have received those challenges from me that in the next 2 weeks you have to give this speech, in the next week you have to give this speech or take up that role, go to this contest. As a mentor, make sure that you push them to the next level. Giving a speech in your club for the first 2 3 weeks, for the first 2 3 months, that's okay. But after that, you have to step outside your club. Go to the best club that is there in Pune or Bangalore, or wherever they are going. Vipul, you keep traveling to so many countries. How many clubs have you visited in those countries? Ask yourself that question. Very important. So,
Right.
so you need to challenge yourself. When you have the opportunity to meet so many people, are you using Toastmasters to its best level or no? So I'm going to share this entire deck with all of you, respecting the time. We already have just crossed 10:00. Um, from all these slides, if you have any questions, you can ask me. But as a mentor, it doesn't matter how much you know. It only matters how much you care. With that, I will stop for questions. And once we're done with the questions, I will stop recording. All right.
Aniket,
Yes.
quick
Yes.
question. What has been your key learning as a mentor in your entire experience of mentorship? Top 3 key learnings.
Sure. My key learnings are I am able to understand people better when I am meeting a new person who has just joined Toastmasters. I am able to figure out their strengths, whether are they good in language, how are they in terms of their confidence, what kind of thing would motivate this person. Sometimes a challenge motivates a person, sometimes recognition and appreciation motivates a person. So these are different ways of in which I have been able to learn that. Second biggest learning for me has been empathy. I have been able to empathize with someone else's point of view in a better way. For example, someone has taken up a break of, let's say, 8 months because of some reason. They are coming back to Toastmasters and they give a speech and it is not up to the mark. So after that speech, if I go and without understanding where they're coming from, if I directly go and blast them, then I'm not being sensitive enough. So before I speak anything, I should be able to put myself in their shoes and think like them and understand where they are coming from. That has been my second most learning. And the third learning is I learn from my mentees. I learn many things from you. So that is another learning for me as a mentor.
Aniket, one question.
Yes, sure.
So as a mentor, a mentee, the relationship is give and take.
Yeah.
So you give a lot of feedback and you receive a lot of feedback.
Yeah.
So how much feedback should be received? How should we filter it out? And how, if we have mentees, do the same with them?
Sure. So how much of the feedback that your mentees are giving you, you should take. There are a lot of times when the data speaks for itself. If you have 6 mentees and 4 out of 6 come and tell you that your language is very strong, I think you should take that feedback because there are so many people saying it. Number one. Number two is the best decision making machine that you have is between your ears. So when you receive that feedback, try and think about it, maybe try and correlate it, spend some more time on it, and you decide whether you want to take it up or no. A lot of times, the feedback can come very simple, and by default, we have been told, hey, don't say anything bad to that person. Hey, he is your mentor, you can't say anything to him. But you need to make sure that you, with your words and with your actions, make sure that your mentees understand that they can give you feedback. If they feel that I'm coming to the meetings late, they should be able to open up freely and tell me that. If they feel hesitant, then somewhere you are still lagging. You're not there yet.
Thanks.
Yeah. Bhavna, you have been uncharacteristically silent today. Why?
Yeah. No, I actually joined a little late.
Okay.
So, but then I was truly in a listening mode today.
Okay. Okay. Questions? Any questions or anything? Any comments?
I generally feel I'm actually mentoring a whole club.
Mm-hmm.
And my approach to them, I don't know, it just comes to me naturally. I become more of a mother to those.
Yeah.
They're quite young. The maximum age is 30. So I kind of start behaving like a mother. And for now, the strategy is working well because when they see somebody so caring and passionate about this whole public speaking thing, and whatever advice I'm giving them, they are taking it positively for now. It's working well for me. And I'm thoroughly enjoying this whole mentorship program as such.
Okay. Nice. Nice. Very good. Very
I'm
good.
able to connect with whatever you are saying right now.
Yeah.
You as a mentor, I do feel a bond with you. Every time I talk to you, it feels quite warm. And I'm looking forward to give out the same to all whom I'm mentoring.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Bhavana.
Thank you.
JP, about your question about learnings, I have one more learning to share. Is during my conversations with my mentees, I always go beyond the club. I always go beyond the Toastmasters framework that we have about speeches and clubs and learnings and CCs and CLs. Talk a bit more personal. What are they doing in their personal lives? Is there anything that you can help them? Is there anything that happened really well that you can appreciate them? Or remember what happened with them last time when you spoke to them, and you ask them, hey, last time you told me you were studying for that, what happened over there? So you are now going personal, you are now going beyond Toastmasters. So that's really where that personal connections is really where that the warm relationships come into picture.
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Aniket, one more question.
Yes, sure.
So, in your opinion, what is the indicator to suggest that the mentor-mentee relationship is working?
From a mentor's side, I would say the moment, without them saying anything, if you understand that the mentee is either going on the right track or they need some help, in that case, it's going in the right direction. From the mentor's side, I would say that looking at the mentee, if you are able to identify the right set of challenges to them and you are receiving feedback from them, they are coming to you and asking you questions, that's going the right way. From a mentee's point of view, I would say if the mentee has been sharing their speeches with you, if the mentees have been talking about their projects with you, if the mentees have been telling about their personal life, their challenges with you, and if they think that I think people will be able to help me with this, and they come to you and they ask you those questions, then it is going in the right direction. And together, if you are able to track this data, because non-verbally we can talk so many things, but from a data point of view, which mentee is on which level, what was the last achievement of that mentee that you can still talk about today, is also shows that you are truly connected.
Thanks.
Anything from you, Kavina?
No, Aniket, I'm on the receiving end right now.
Sure.
But I
Ashirwad.
say, mentor, how I connect with you, it's absolutely nice that anything outside Toastmasters also, I tend to call you and quickly check if this is okay. At office, if I have to present something, also I do that.
Yeah.
That's the connect that I have with you, and anything that comes to speaking, irrespective of if it's Toastmasters or outside Toastmasters, I always connect with you. So thank you so much for being such an awesome mentor to me. I really want to tell that right now, because this is the right forum and right time that I can thank you for it. Yeah, that's from my end.
Thank you, Kavina. Thank you. Ashirwad, you have been managing the entire club and managing the mentoring program for ECT Toastmasters Club. What do you think you will change, or what do you think we will do when you go back to that? And a few words on that.
I didn't get you in last thing.
No, a few words on what you would do next.
In terms of, I'm not getting the question.
Okay, sure. Let me reframe my question. For everyone else who don't know, Ashirwad is acting as the VP Education of Electronic City Toastmasters Club with more than 45 members, and mentoring and tracking the entire club's progress, make sure that mentoring is being done in the club. He recently did a remapping of all the mentees. That really, I really like that fact. So with today's session done, when you go back and look at the mentoring program for your club, what do you think you would do? Would you assess? Would you refactor? Would you do some milestones? What will be your approach?
I will reassess the requirement of the. I have done it based on their requirement. I try to assign, but after this session, I'll try to connect with people little more and understand their requirement. And I also will talk with the mentors,
Yeah.
and what kind of mentee they are looking for, so that
Okay.
I'll do more justice to the mentor as well as mentee.
Sure. I think that sounds wonderful. All right. So with this, let me stop recording this meeting, and after that we can stop. So.